me like you do, and hold 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 me
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys? I hope everybody is doing well, especially after yesterday. Yesterday was a hectic day. Yesterday ended with K, and wow, it was a lot. So I want to thank everybody who joined yesterday for Lori Vallow. Okay, I got to ask you guys something. So somehow or another, I'm not on the right day. I don't understand that. I have it as day 6, part 2, but when you look at the stream, it's day 5, and I streamed day 5. So I'm super confused at how I'm on day 6, but Law and Crime is on day 5. I don't know how that happened. I'll figure it out later. So if I have to change the title, I'll change the title, but that's how it is. Okay, so we're going to start with the after where we left off last Friday. And stream the afternoon session. The morning session, we had Linda Stermer's, I don't even know what you want to call him, because he's not claiming her. He says they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. He said he was just dealing with her. I don't know, but we're going to start with the first witness that happened after lunch. All right, so let's get started. All right, here we go.
Ms. Ardevine, you may call your next witness.
Mr. Honor, if you could call Kathy Ilg to the stand, please.
Ma'am, before you have a seat, I'll have you face me, please, and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled, we'll have you give us your full name and spell the last. And if you can move that microphone toward your mouth, that will help.
Kathy Ilg, I-L-G.
Thank you. Ms. Ardevine?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ilg, do you know a Linda Stermer?
Yes.
How do you know Linda Stermer?
We had a mutual friend, Kate Fox.
Do you recall when you first met her?
It was probably about a year before the fire.
So sometime in 2006?
Yes.
And did you spend time with Ms. Stermer?
I've only spent time with her maybe 3 times.
And would that have been before the fire or after the fire?
2 times, I believe, before the fire, and 1 time after the fire.
What was the first time? What did you guys do?
Went over there to see the curly horses. They were beautiful. Curly horses. Horses with curly hair. They're beautiful.
I have figured it out. I am correct. Law and Crime has 2 day 4s. That's why they're off. All right, let's keep going. My bad.
So you went over to her home and saw the horses?
Yes.
And at that time, was it just you and Linda, or were there other people there?
Kate was there, and I believe her daughter Kelsey was there, and the second time I went, her husband was there.
Okay. And then what did you do the second time you went over there?
Same thing, went to see the horses, but I went in and Linda introduced me to her husband. I said hello. He was working on the house.
And so that was, do you recall how close of time that was before the fire?
Couple months.
And then you weren't there then anymore prior to the fire?
No.
And then you said you had met Linda one time after the fire?
Yes. After the house had burned, there was no way to contain the horses and to water them and feed them because the water wasn't working. So one of the horses was coming to my house. Litzy was the horse's name. And we went over there, me, Kate, her brother Steve.
When you say brother Steve, was that Kate's
Kate's
brother Steve?
Steve, to take apart the back deck so that we could build a lean-to at my house, because horses have to have a place to go inside.
And so you were assisting her then with getting those materials so you could take the house? Or take the horse?
Yes.
Okay. And were there, when you were at the house with Ms. Stermer after the fire, did she ask you to help her move any items?
We had gone in the shed to look for something. I don't even remember what. Might have been tools to help tear down the back deck. It was a really tall deck.
And then, did you find anything in the shed?
Well, I thought it was odd that there were the children's school pictures. You know how you frame them and you have for kindergarten through whatever grade. They were stacked up in there, and I was kind of concerned about them because of mice and rats. Then I wondered what they were doing in the shed, and that they, I mean, it was good they didn't burn, but that they weren't in the house.
So you found it, you questioned why they were in the shed with mice versus in the house.
Correct.
Man, you're repeating her answers, and I get you're just trying to clarify, but if there are objections,
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. And did you say something to Linda about those pictures that you saw?
Yeah, I just said, those pictures out there, maybe we need to move those out of there.
Did she tell you why the pictures were in the shed?
Nope, and I didn't ask any more after that.
She didn't tell you how they got there?
No.
Did she ever ask you to go into the rubble of the house?
She had gone in to look for something. I used to be a firefighter in South Haven, and I knew it wasn't a good idea to go into a house that had been that destroyed by fire. So when she went in to look for something, I thought she said her rings. I said I didn't think it was a good idea to go in there, so I did not go in.
Did she go in?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you what she was looking for?
I thought she said rings and some cup that was in the dishwasher.
Did she say why she was trying to find?
A cup in the dishwasher. Could it be the yellow cup that Ezra McCandless wanted to go back and get from the guy that she unalived? There's that yellow cup again. If you know, you know. All right, let's keep going. Let me speed her up just a little bit.
Find a cup in the dishwasher?
She didn't say. No.
At some point, then, did you drive her van that day?
Yeah, I went to get something to drink and drove into town to the gas station and got something to drink for everybody.
And this is after she told you she was going into the house to look for rings?
Yes.
And did you see anything in the van?
I seen a bunch of jewelry in the, you know, they have those little cubby places where you can put like your phone, but this was older van. And the jewelry was sitting there, and I wondered if that was her jewelry. So when I got back, I said to her, you know, there's jewelry in the van.
What'd she say?
That wasn't the ones she was looking for.
Did she ever tell you about how the fire started?
No, I never asked.
And she never told you anything?
No.
Did she ever tell you from the time you met her up until recently if they'd had any physical violence between the two of them?
She did not know.
Did you ever see any marks on her?
No.
Were you involved a little bit with the horses in terms of talking to her about horses?
Only the days that I've been there.
Did she ever tell you if she went out of state to get these horses, or
Yeah,
what'd she tell you?
that her and Kate would go pick up horses in different states and places because I believe she was a curly horse rescue.
And did she say she'd be out of town for very long?
They'd be out of town for sometimes a day, sometimes not. It depended upon how far they had to go.
Do you know if Linda had a cell phone?
Yes, she had two, a matter of fact.
She had two? How do you know she had two cell phones?
Because I got a call from some number and the message had been left, and I asked Kate what was going on because that wasn't the normal phone number that Linda called from. And Kate just said it was her other phone.
I'm going to stop you there, yeah. So you got a number. Did you call that number back?
No.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Excuse me.
You all right? You need some water or something?
No.
You have only been to the Stermer house 3 times, am I right?
Correct.
2 before the fire, 1 after the fire.
Correct.
And Steve Benny is your friend? I mean, is Kate Fox's brother?
Kate Fox and I were friends.
Okay. Were you friends with Steve Benny too? And his wife
I knew
Tina?
him. I'd been to his house.
Have you done favors for Steve Fox, like boarded horses or anything like that?
For whom?
Steve Benny, sorry.
No.
Okay. Did you ever board horses for Linda Stermer after the fire?
Yes.
As a favor to Steve and Tina?
No, as a favor to Linda.
The jewelry you said you found, ma'am, I take it to be in the center console of the van,
Yeah.
right?
Up by that
All right.
radio.
You don't know that that's all the jewelry that Linda Stermer owned, right?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did she tell you she was, strike that. Do you know whether she had like wedding rings in the house that she had lost in the fire?
She said that's what she said she went in for a ring. She didn't tell me what ring it was.
In and around May of 2007, about 4 months after the fire, you were very close friends with Kate Fox, right?
Correct.
And you've been close friends with Kate Fox since before the fire, right?
Correct.
And if Kate Fox asked you to do favors, you would do favors for Kate Fox, right?
Depends on the favor.
Okay, well,
Hold it there, Wolfmueller, Esquire. Call me Sadie Jennifer says, I have an opinion that has changed about Linda Stermer. Tell us what it is. All right, let's keep going.
did you act as a go-between between Kate Fox and the police with regard to Linda Stermer?
No, I only talked to the police once.
You talked to the police once and told the police in an anonymous call that you had a friend who needed to talk to them?
It was not anonymous, and I told them that they needed to speak to Kate Fox.
Were you doing a favor for Kate Fox at the time?
No.
Did you ever ask Kate Fox, why don't you call the police yourself?
No. This was like as soon as I heard about the fire.
So within a week or so, it's a small town, you must have heard about it right away.
Yeah. I think it was a while ago. I know that it wasn't because I talked to Kate.
You talked to the police within a week or so of the fire, am I right?
Correct.
Okay. Wouldn't have been in May of 2007, right?
Perhaps.
All right. Would it be fair to say, ma'am, that 18 years after this fire, your memory's not as good now as it was back then?
As far as dates,
And your testimony to our jury is that you did not act as a go-between, am I right?
Correct.
You don't know why there were any pictures in that shed, am I right?
No.
You never spoke to Steve Benny about it?
No.
You never spoke to the Stermer sons about it?
No. I don't even know who they are.
Okay. You've never even met them?
No, they weren't at the house when I came there.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor.
Just while they're having a little huddle over there, excuse me, I wanted to ask you guys, it's been suggested that I streamed the Karen Reed trial, and I wanted to ask you guys how you
Ma'am,
felt
when,
about that.
Linda Stermer went in the house, Steve Benny was with her as well, right? He was sitting through things.
I don't recall.
Don't know one way or another.
No.
When exactly did you go to the Stermer house and drove the Stermer van?
The day that it was after the fire, the tape was still around the house, and I had asked, did she have permission to go into the house, because I used to be a firefighter, so I knew you couldn't go in. And she said yes, and
Who said that?
Linda had said that she had permission to go in.
Okay. How many days after the fire? Is this immediately after the fire?
It was within a week or two, because the horses, Litzy needed water. There was no way to get water to them, because without electricity, the pumps didn't work.
So within 7 to 14 days of this fire, you drove the Stermer van to a gas station.
Correct.
Linda, as you know, having been with her a couple times, was very much into horses, right?
Correct.
Spent a lot of time with horses.
Correct.
Did Kate Fox own horses?
I don't know. She didn't when I knew, when I hung around with her.
And you hung around with her before and after the fire, right?
Correct.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you, ma'am.
The reason that you told the police officers about Kate Fox is what?
Things that Kate had said to me.
At that time, were you aware that Linda and Kate were close?
Yes, that's part of the reason Kate and I aren't friends anymore.
So you knew at that time that they were close?
Yes.
And I just want to just be clear, when she said she asked you to go into the home, it was to look for jewelry and a cup in the dishwasher, is that correct?
Correct.
Asked and answered, so.
I have no further question, Your Honor.
No, I don't. One second.
Jury, woman, do you have any questions of her? I've got a couple hands going up.
Okay, I was typing this to put in the chat, but now I'm just going to ask you guys while they talk about these jury questions. Okay, so if I were to stream Karen Reed, I believe her trial starts Tuesday. And you want recaps. That's a good idea, Teacup. Or what if I did it the other way? Since let's be honest, when you really get down to brass tacks, there's not actually a whole lot, maybe 4 hours of testimony in the Lori Vallow trial. And if I hold on,
Which van did you drive into town for drinks when Linda was going through the rubble? Like what color or make and model?
I do not recall what make and model it was a while ago. I believe it was blue, but I could be wrong.
okay, I could do it the other way around because there's only 4, like if we really get down to brass tacks, like I said, there's only like 4 hours of testimony in Lori. So what I could do is stream Karen during the day and then do Vallow at night. What do you guys say? What do you guys think? Because Teacup, that's an excellent idea. You guys help me so much. I just appreciate it so much. If you could do me one more favor and give your girl a thumbs up on the stream, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
It could be blue, but
I
maybe
could,
she
I
said
could be wrong.
Yeah, I believe it was blue, but I could be wrong. And were the pictures found in the shed in frames or binders, or were they loose?
They were in frames all stacked up on top of it. There was some other stuff there, and they were stacked on top of it.
Okay. Council, any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
No? Any question, Mr. Mueller?
Maybe I misheard you. You said it was Linda Stermer's van that you drove to the gas station within a week or 2 weeks of the fire, am I right?
I think it was a van,
Linda Stermer's van, as far as you remember.
as far as I remember.
Thank you.
Did she give you the keys to drive whatever vehicle?
Yes, and money to buy the water, too.
So she handed you keys and money?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Mueller, anything else?
No, nothing else.
Jury, any other questions? May she be excused from subpoenas?
I would ask that you please be excused, Your Honor.
Any objection, defense?
No, you're not.
Thank you, ma'am. You're all done, and you're excused from this subpoena.
Thank you.
Ms. Seidman, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People call Kate Fox to the stand, please.
Before we bring old Kate Fox up to the stand, Neat Noodle says you aren't going to be able to please us all. You're just going to have to make a decision. Well, Neat, you're my optimist. I need you to be optimistic. I don't want to, I know that it would be impossible to please everybody, but I'd like to please the majority. So majority is going to rule. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put up a poll and then I'll make my decision based on the poll. All right, here we go. Now, I should tell you guys, I believe there's going to be some spicy surrounding this particular witness because,
Ma'am, before you have a seat, I'll swear you in if you raise your right hand. Please do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and when you're settled in, we'll have you state your full name and spell the last, please.
Catherine K. Fox, FOX.
Thank you, Ms. Seidman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Fox, do you know Linda Stermer? How did you know Linda Stermer?
We met through our children.
How did your children spend time together?
My daughter was a cheerleader and her son played football.
So they went to school together?
They did.
And was there a time that you worked with Linda Stermer?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was, when you started working with her?
Roughly June of '06.
Had you been working there prior?
No,
Did you both start on the same day?
we did. We interviewed and started on the same day.
And what place of employment are we talking about?
Chemlink, that was first located in Kalamazoo and then moved to Schoolcraft.
And how well did you know her before you started working together?
I'd only known her for a few months.
So it was really just more through your children?
Well, once we started talking, we hit it off pretty well. We were friends.
Jennifer says, I watched Colby's reaction video. Me too. Apparently, Lori was not a cook. He even mentioned that the green chili chicken enchiladas weren't that special. I told y'all them green chili chicken enchiladas were probably caca. They're probably all right, but they were probably bland. All right, I'm going to put up a poll after this live, okay? Because you know I cannot type and put up a poll at the same time. You guys know how that will turn out. All right, here we go.
Did you have some common interests?
Besides the kids, horses, we went to auctions together. We bought a lot of furniture. I refinished old furniture, so we went to the auctions and bought old furniture.
And you said something with horses. Did you do
She
something?
had horses. My daughter was horse crazy, so we spent time there for my daughter to be able to ride and things.
Did you go any horse shows or pick up horses or anything like that with her?
No, I didn't have much to do with that part of it.
So you started working on the same day. Did you end up carpooling together to go to work?
We did.
You
Because
start that
we both lived in Lawrence, and it was quite a drive to Kalamazoo.
Did you start that right away?
Yes,
So as soon as you got the job?
pretty much, yes.
So that would have been June of about 2006, you said?
Yes,
Did you guys get close as you were spending time together?
yes,
And did you talk a lot in the car?
yes,
Did you talk about Linda's marriage?
yes.
What did she tell you about her marriage?
She told me that her husband was abusive to her. She was very unhappy in her marriage.
Did she say she wanted out of the marriage?
Roll that.
Yes, she said she wanted out of the marriage.
Did you see any evidence of any physical abuse on Ms. Stermer at all?
Not once, not ever.
At some point, did she talk to you about Chris Williams?
She did.
And what did she tell you about Chris Williams?
They were having a relationship.
Do you know when that started?
I am not sure. I don't know how long after it started before she talked to me about it.
Was it shortly after you started working there?
It was at least a couple of months.
And what did she say about Chris Williams?
That he was extremely important to her.
How did she describe her feelings for him?
She wanted to be with him.
Do you recall ever overhearing any conversations between her and Mr. Williams
Yes, they talked pretty much every night on the way home on the phone.
in your car?
She usually drove.
So she talked as you guys were driving back and forth?
Yes,
Did she say if this relationship was sexual?
she did.
What'd she say about it?
She said it was the best lover she ever had.
Your Honor, it's what the defendant said. She's describing her relationship.
Still relevance.
I find it relevant.
And it's
As
showing
opposed
she's
to-
gone on examination under oath saying
allow
she
it.
is, thank you, Your Honor. So she said that he was the best lover she ever had?
Yes.
Now, I must break in here for a little commentary, but let me just say this. Now, she's recalling it as the best lover she ever had. And Mr. Williams got up on that stand and was like, basically, I don't claim that. I don't claim her. I mean, yeah, she came over, we hung out, we hooked up a few times, but, whatevs. I didn't have anything else to do that day. So, I killed a little time with her. I mean, it was not special to him. All right, Nameless, ask us a Maybelline question. All right, here we go.
Did you know where Mr. Williams lived?
I had occasion to go there with Linda. I never went inside the house, but I did sit in the car while she went inside after work a few times.
How long were you sitting outside?
Half hour, 45 minutes.
Did she say what she was doing inside?
It seemed implied. I didn't ask.
And she told you that's Chris's house?
Yes.
At some point, did the police contact you about Mr. Williams?
About him,
Or ask you about him?
when I talked to them, yes.
Did you tell them where Mr. Williams lived?
I believe so.
Were you aware of any phones that Linda had?
Yes.
And what did she have in terms of phones?
She had one phone that was the phone that her family knew about and another phone that they didn't.
And how did you know that the family didn't know about that phone?
Because she told me that.
Did she tell you where she kept it?
Sometimes she left it at my house, and sometimes she told me she had found a spot underneath the dash in her blazer where she could put the phone.
Did you hear her talking on that phone?
Yes.
And who was she talking to?
Chris.
I want you to think about an incident at Thanksgiving prior to the fire. Did you call the police?
I did. That was in 2006.
So just a little less than 2 months before the fire, correct? If I told you the fire was
Yes,
January 7th
yes.
of 2007? And can you tell the jury then why you called the police?
I called the police because she called me hysterical and said that she had a gun and wanted me to give her one good reason not to shoot him,
Not to shoot him?
not to shoot Todd. And I did my best to calm her down, but at the end of the conversation, I still wasn't comfortable that things had calmed down, and so I called the police.
Did you know she had a gun prior to that?
I didn't. I'd never seen a gun.
Had she ever talked about shooting him before that?
She talked about various ways that she had thought about getting rid of him.
What did she say to you?
She talked about shooting him. She talked about running over him with her car, poisoning him.
And she talked about all this with you.
Yes.
And why was she talking about this? I'll rephrase.
Yeah, that's the same.
What was the context of that conversation?
Generally, it was when she was talking about how unhappy she was in her marriage.
Did she ever talk to you about Todd being suspicious of her?
Not until late in 06. Yeah, it was late in 06. She said that she felt like he was getting suspicious.
She talked to you about a post office box?
Yes, I actually went with her when she opened that post office box.
Why? What was?
Because she had credit cards and phone bills and things that Todd didn't know about, and she had the bills sent to the post office box so that he didn't see them.
And you went to that post office box?
I did. There were several occasions when I went and got the mail out for her and gave it to her.
So you actually picked it up for her?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Todd Stermer, if any?
From when our friendship started, she had told me that he was jealous of the time that we spent together and that he didn't like me. So I didn't have contact with Todd.
And that was because of what she said to you?
Yes.
After the fire, did you talk to her about the fire?
I asked her about it. She told me that her attorney had advised her not to discuss it.
So you didn't have any conversations
We
with
did
her about
not,
it?
no.
Did she ever say anything about Todd being run over by a van?
She did.
What'd she say?
She told me that she had run over him with the van.
Did she tell you why?
No. Well, she said it was smoky and she didn't see him, that he had run out of the house, and she was trying to get in the van to go for help.
Had you talked to Kathy Ilg about any concerns you had?
Yes. I told her I felt like I needed to speak to the police, but there was so much sympathy for her at work at that point after the fire that I didn't feel like I could go to them directly.
So you didn't want to go directly?
No, I didn't want anyone to know that I had contacted them because it would have made my life really hard at my job.
After the fire, did Ms. Stermer ever give you her locker keys from work?
She took some time off after the fire, and she said there were things in her locker that she needed me to take out for her.
Do you recall what those items were?
I never looked at them. It was just a bag of stuff that was in the locker.
And then where did you take those?
I took them home with me.
Were you able to give them back to her?
Eventually, initially they had been set on top of a trunk in my house. Someone had opened it at some point and the bag had fallen behind it and I couldn't find them. And she was very angry.
What was she saying to you?
She accused me of stealing them or keeping them intentionally.
Were these paper items or were they items?
It felt like a bag of mail.
Eventually, did you find those items?
I did.
Did you give them back to her?
I did.
Did you store anything at your house for her?
Like I said, occasionally the phone, before the post office, sometimes bills, phone bills.
When you talked to deputies about Mr. Chris Williams, were you able to describe his vehicle?
Yes.
And you also then knew his address?
Well, I didn't know the exact address, but I knew how to get there. I'm not very good with streets in Kalamazoo.
So you just told them the location?
Basically, yes.
Did Linda ever ask you to lie for her when she was with Chris?
Like I said, I had no contact with Todd, so no.
Did you ever have any further conversations about what happened on the fire, the day of the fire, or about her running him over?
No, I'm pretty sure she only told me that the one time. And honestly, I didn't want to know.
Did Linda call you a few days after the fire and ask you to go out to the scene?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how long it was shortly after the fire. She called me. It was late at night. It was pouring rain, and she said she needed me to bring a flashlight and come out to the house because there was a coffee cup in the dishwasher that had not been run, and she needed to find that cup because it had tranquilizer in it, and she didn't want the investigators to locate it.
At some point, did your relationship start to dissolve?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury why your relationship started to dissolve?
I had loaned her $5,000 because she told me that her mortgage was about to default and she was going to lose her house. And I had gotten paperwork in the mail for a signature loan for $5,000. So she asked me if she could borrow the money and said that she would make the payments on it and that it would help build my credit. So I did. I took the check, I signed it, I went to my bank, I deposited it, and I had a bank draft drawn up to Linda Stermer for the $5,000.
So you gave her then the entire $5,000?
I did.
And this was a loan in your name?
Yes.
And you did it why?
I didn't want her to lose her house.
And are you talking about the house that had burned? Or are you
Yes.
talking about it? Okay. But it was your understanding she needed this money to keep that?
Yes.
And keep the property?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. And once you gave her the money, it was your understanding she was going to make payments?
Yes.
And did that occur?
No.
How did you find that out?
Several months later, one of the bills came, because I hadn't even been opening them, I was just giving them to her. A bill came and it said final notice, so I opened it and realized that not one single payment had been made.
And
So-
again, this was just in your name?
Yes.
So what did you do once you found this information out?
I confronted her at work,
And where did you confront her at work at?
in the bathroom.
In the bathroom? And tell me what happened during that conversation.
She looked me in the eye and said she never borrowed money from me.
And what did you do?
I was angry. I yelled. I was very verbally abusive. I was very angry.
Because now you had to pay that $5,000 back.
Yes.
And what did Ms. Stermer do then when you became angry with her?
She said a couple of things before she walked out of the bathroom, like, stop touching me, get away from me. And then she went out of the bathroom, and I followed her into the hallway and continued basically yelling at her.
Did you both get in trouble at work?
No,
You didn't get in any trouble?
no,
Was that the last time you talked to her?
that would, probably,
Any substantial conversations after that?
not that I recall.
Did she ever pay you back?
No.
Who's Steve Benny?
My brother.
When was the last time you had a conversation with your brother?
My mom's funeral in 2001, until I introduced him to Linda in 2007.
And then you introduced him to Linda?
Yes. He had property and she needed a place for her horses to stay.
So you connected the two of
So
them?
I connected the two of them so they could make that happen.
Did you talk to your brother anytime after that?
No,
Have you seen him?
no.
Now
Only
you
at
kn-
funerals, and we don't have conversation.
So from 2001 to 2007, there was one conversation about connecting him with Linda?
Basically, my brother and I have never been close.
Anything else that Ms. Stermer told you over the course of your friendship about either the house or her relationship or Chris Williams that I failed to ask you about?
I don't think so.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
I just want to get a couple housekeeping things done from what a prior witness said. You and Linda, as I understand it, you started at Chemlink on the same day, June 5, 2006, sound right?
That sounds right. Sometime in that area.
Linda helped you get the job, right?
Yes.
You two worked the second shift?
Yes.
Right. I used to work in a factory once. Would second shift be 3 to 11?
Yes.
And Chris Williams, he worked the first shift, am I right?
Yes, he did.
What would the first shift be?
7 to 3.
Okay. He was a truck driver. Do you know whether he was in the same building as you
It was all one building.
in Schoolcraft?
Yes.
But he'd be leaving as you were coming on, correct?
Yes.
And you and Linda became almost like best friends, am I right?
I thought so.
Right. Chris Williams, you're saying Linda had started having a relationship with him, all right?
That's what she told me.
Do you remember when it started?
Specifically, no. Like I said, I don't know how long it had gone on before she mentioned it to me.
Do you recall, well, it wasn't a big secret around Kemling, was it?
That they were seeing each other?
Yeah.
I don't think it was common knowledge. There were a handful of people that may have known.
We'll return to that. Let me just make sure I get this timeline right. You start June of 2006 with Linda, right?
Yes.
Working the same shift, going to work, traveling every day, because you both worked long ways from
Yes.
Schoolcraft. Then in Thanksgiving of 2006, November of 2006, there's this incident that happens that you told us about, right?
Yes.
Where you were the one who called the police, am I right?
Yes.
Because Linda, you said, said she had a gun and give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot this guy to death.
Yes.
Right. That's what you told the Michigan State Police. You called them.
I called 911. Who I talked to, I couldn't say.
Okay. Let me show you if I may approach, Your Honor. Thanks. You testified in a prior hearing, am I right?
Yes, I did.
Under oath,
Yes, sir.
subject to the penalty of perjury,
Yeah,
and you swore to tell the truth,
I did.
and you did tell the truth. In that
Good
hearing.
question?
And you did tell the truth.
Yes,
Ask the question.
I did tell the truth.
Thank you. I want to turn your attention to page 192, if I may. Are you there?
Yes.
And there are a bunch of line numbers on the sides. See that? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Question was asked, you told the police that there was a gun involved in that incident. Ma'am, are you sure? Your answer was, they specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew if there were any firearms in the house. And I stated at that time, yes. See that?
She told me she had a gun.
Listen to my question.
Okay.
That was the question and answer you gave under oath, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Then the question, that there was a firearm in the house or that there was a firearm being involved in the incident. And your answer was, you told them that I knew there were guns in the house. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
That
I
was
don't
your-
remember saying guns, but I did say there was a gun in the house.
That was your testimony under oath, right?
Yes.
And when you swore to tell the truth and you gave that answer to that question, it was the truth.
Yes.
And you knew that at that time, you need to make sure you're telling the police detailed information so they can help your friend.
I told them what she told me.
Okay. Isn't it true? There's nothing in here about, give me one reason why I should shoot that guy. Why I shouldn't shoot him.
One,
Am I right?
what are you saying?
Nothing in that transcript that where you swore to tell the truth that I just read says anything that you told the police about Linda saying, give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot that guy. Am I right?
I thought that I had.
Question was, am I right in the questions and answers that I read?
I,
You gave her.
I just asked her to look at those questions and answers.
Well, why don't you let her finish and then you can ask your question.
I did tell them that she told me she had a gun.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, this is November of 2006, I want to speed forward a little bit to the timeline. In January of 2007, right at the time of the fire, you had been hospitalized, am I right?
Yes.
You had been hospitalized in a psychiatric facility,
Yes.
am I right? And you were diagnosed with severe depression.
Situational depression.
Your Honor, I guess I'm just going to object, unless this would affect her memory, I don't know if we really need to go into her medical history.
She was hospitalized for a psychiatric condition. It goes to what she remembers and what she's able to tell us now
I don't think
about the time of the fire.
that anything that happened to her affected her memory.
Relevance of 401.
I'm not seeing the relevance, so I'll sustain that
Thank you,
objection.
Your Honor.
Then the fire happened, am I right?
Yes.
January 7th. And then you have told our jury that your friendship dissolved over a loan of $5,000. You remember that?
I do.
And that culminated in a big verbal argument.
Yes.
All right. That big verbal argument happened July 31 of 2007.
Yes.
All right. You had found out shortly after or before that Linda wasn't making payments on this loan you had made, right?
Shortly, very shortly before that.
Because you were hot. right?
Yes, I was angry.
Okay. And that's the reason your friendship dissolved.
There were a lot of things that led up to that, but that was the last straw.
Okay. Now, I want to direct your attention to your testimony. Again, you have that with you, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Say yes.
Are they going to present evidence of this loan? I need to know the situation around this loan.
Page 201, line 5 to 13. Let me know when you're on page 201
Line 5,
to 13.
like I said, there were a lot of things that culminated in the relationship ending, but yes, I recall
When
testifying to that.
When you were interviewed by Detective Rout, and you gave this testimony under oath at that hearing, you were asked, isn't it true that you told Detective Rout, when you were interviewed by her on May 17, 2007, that your relationship with Linda Stermer pretty much dissolved in February of 2007, after she had received so much sympathy from her coworkers, and Linda was transferred from second shift to first shift, and this angered her, you,
Yes,
because the plan had been for the two of you to move together to first shift. Isn't that true? And your answer was?
yes,
Yes. So your relationship dissolved in February of 2007 because you were angry that she had gone to
I
first
wouldn't
shift.
say it dissolved at that point. We still had contact after that. Not nearly as often, and we were still working together
That fact that
at
she,
the same place.
the fact that she went to, well, she was on first shift now and you were on second. True?
Yes,
Okay. Now, my question is, not only did it anger you, you felt betrayed, didn't you?
I started to realize how many lies she had told me.
Because you think she lied when she made you this promise, or you guys talk about we're going to go to first shift as a package deal.
Yes, and she never even gave me a heads up that she was changing or talking to anyone about changing shifts.
Do you understand that on January 7, she lost her husband and her 3 teenage kids lost their father?
I know, I feel bad for her kids.
And so she had to take care of 3 teenage kids who are school-aged, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes,
And you understand that she asked management, can I change shifts so that I can accommodate the school schedule? True?
true.
And so you felt betrayed by that? As she lied to you?
It sounds petty.
It-
It sounds petty.
Well-
And it was much bigger than that.
I think there was some petty involved, ma'am. I mean, you're human, okay? We all have our petty moments. Although I have to tell you that it's my mission statement that you don't have to get petty if you stay petty. But it's possible that both things can be true at the same time. Like there could have been actual big issues that were not petty involved, and then there's petty issues that can be involved. It's complicated.
You did feel like she lied to you, right?
Often, yes.
No, about that.
About that specifically, yes.
Then, in May 11 of 2007, Linda accused you of spreading rumors at work that she had killed Todd. Isn't that right?
I may have talked to somebody about that, yes.
Yeah, you may have talked to a woman named Jen, a coworker.
Possibly.
Well,
Uh-oh.
possibly. Let's look at if I can refresh your recollection.
He's about to refresh some
If I
recollections.
may approach, Your Honor.
Oh, dear.
I'll have you read this. Can you read that asterisk paragraph? You don't read it yourself.
How you doing, Lil Red? It's good to see you. What up, MK Lynn? Good to see you too, buddy. It's good to see all of you guys. I'm glad you're here.
That sounds right.
Refresh your memory now, ma'am?
I don't remember who Jen was, but yeah.
It refreshes your
I know I talked to someone, I just didn't remember the name.
Okay, that you were accused by Linda of telling another coworker by the name of Jen that Linda killed her husband. True?
Yes, because I believe that's what happened.
Excuse me, ma'am. You can understand how someone might be upset when a coworker is spreading rumors at work that she was a murderer. You can imagine how upsetting that might be. True?
Sure.
So that's May 11. And then, right after that, you and Kathy Ilg get this idea of you want to go to the police to tell the police things, but you don't want it to come back on you. Is that fair?
Yes.
So you told Kathy, I need you to make a phone call.
Well, I didn't tell Kathy. I discussed it with Kathy, and Kathy offered to call them and have them come to me.
Okay, so Kathy offered to be the go-between between you and the police, am I right?
Just for that incident.
In May of 2007.
Yes.
Then you had Officer Rout come to your work, am I right, to interview you?
Yes.
Even though at that time you lived about a mile from the MSP post, true? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
And you also lived about 5 minutes from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, right?
Yes.
You could have certainly gone down there. Yes?
The point was to avoid conflict with people at work that were feeling sympathy for her.
Okay. So that's why you had the police
Come to me.
come to work for this big show that the police are talking to you while you wanted to avoid conflict with the people at work.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, what she's saying is, I understand this. She wanted people to witness that the police came to her, not that she went to them, because she didn't want to look like a tattletale, a rat, a snitch, however you want to call it. But I get it. Do I agree with the way she handled it? I don't know. I wasn't there. And I've not been in this kind of a situation. So I mean, I do think she's petty. I do think she's bitter, but I don't think that I can completely discount everything that she says. I don't think that I can completely dismiss everything that she's testifying to.
Then we have this issue that happened because of the loan, right, where you confronted Linda in the bathroom
Yes.
at work, right?
Yes.
And you got verbal,
I did.
but it didn't get physical.
I never touched her.
Never touched her. Yet you were convicted for assault.
I pled no
Excuse me.
contest because she had already convinced the police that I had done that.
The question is this: you were convicted of assault.
I don't really know what the point of talking about convictions is, if it's relevant or not.
She already
It has nothing
said.
to do with truth.
She said she never laid a hand on it, Linda.
Is this out of this incident?
Yes.
The assault? I'll allow it.
Thank you.
I guess I'm also concerned that assault can mean also not,
right.
it can also mean being put in fear of. It doesn't necessarily prove that there was any sort of battery. So I also would ask for an instruction on that for the jury so that they understand what an assault and battery is, and it's simply just.
Your Honor, I don't know if we need a speech instead of a legal
Oh,
objection.
dear.
There's been a legal objection. In light of the prosecution reminding me of the elements of the assault, I find it more confusing than
Well,
relevant.
let me see if I can clarify this.
So I'm not allowing you to go into that anymore.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Also,
Right after this
MK's
incident,
right.
you
Never
contact
loan
the
money
police
you
and
can't
check
afford.
it out.
Hold on. I'm going to rewind it.
Yes.
Now,
It's a legal objection. In light of the prosecution reminding me of the elements of the assault, I find it more confusing than
well,
relevant.
let me see if I can clarify this.
So I'm not allowing you to go into that anymore.
Okay. Right after this incident, you contacted the police again, Detective Rout. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, you said that Linda Stermer asked you to close out her post office box, am I right?
Clean out her post
Clean out.
office box.
And you closed it out, though, didn't you?
I don't remember if I took everything out or if I actually closed the box. I think I originally said that I closed the box, so I assume that's what I did. It's been a long time.
Understood. Closing the box means closing the account, because she didn't want
Right.
Todd to find out.
But I, like I said, was with her when she opened that post office box.
You weren't a signer on the box. It was her box.
I had a key.
You had a key, and every now and then she'd give you a key for that post office box, and if you needed to get stuff for her, you did.
Yes.
Are you telling our jury, the U.S. Post Office in Pawpaw,
Yes.
that the federal government, the U.S. Postal Service, allowed you to close out a box for a third party?
I don't think she'd have any knowledge of what the post office is doing. I think she can talk about her actions and what she did. I don't think she knows what the post office did.
This is impeachment, this is cross-examination. I'm allowed to get into this.
If you lay a foundation
Yes.
that she knew.
Have you ever opened a post office box before? Ever?
Yes, once in South Haven.
And when in South Haven, did you ever close that box?
Yes.
And when you open the box, you have to show ID, don't you?
I don't remember. That would have been in the 80s.
You wouldn't know if you just simply say, I'm Kate Fox, I'd like to open a box, and they give you one.
If I had to show ID, I'm sure I did.
And you have to fill out some type of form or application. They don't just give you a key, right?
Right.
When you closed your box, you had to prove it was you. True?
Your Honor, I prefer Pete to ask her if she remembered, because it appears
Your Honor,
that
we don't need to
she's
speak.
struggling with her memory on what actually occurred. I'm putting words in her mouth.
That's specific.
Ma'am? Everyone can't talk at the same time, okay? So what is the question right now, Mr. Mueller?
Question is, well, let's say, did you ever testify under oath that the U.S. Postal Service allowed you to close a postal box for another person?
I'll allow that question for
Yes.
impeachment.
You testified to that under oath,
Yes.
but you don't know if they actually would allow you to do that, right?
I believe they did.
Okay. Do you recall
I
having?
know I cleaned the box out that day.
Do you recall showing ID to the postal office that day? You remember
I
cleaning out the
don't
box?
remember whether I had to show ID or not.
You don't recall what you had to do, am I right?
Right.
Now, this issue of a coffee cup that Linda talked to you about, she needed to get in, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Because she wanted, I think you told us, that the coffee cup had tranquilizer in,
Yes.
right? But she didn't give any tranquilizer to Todd
She
Stermer.
told me she didn't give it to him because she found out that he had already taken something for sleep.
Okay, he took something for sleep. Are you aware, do you have any evidence to corroborate for our jury that Linda Stermer told you any of this?
No, I don't.
Are you aware that Dr. Markey, the medical examiner, has testified Todd Stermer didn't have any drugs in his system? None, except caffeine.
Okay, but to be fair, Mr. Mueller, there's no way to prove a negative. Okay, she cannot prove that Linda didn't tell her that. She cannot prove that Linda did tell her that. That goes to the weight. Either the jury is going to believe what she says or they're not. The end.
That's not a correct statement of what was actually found by Dr. Markey. There were drugs found in his system, and he listed them out on the toxicology.
In his system is in the blood, active in his system. Counsel knows that.
I think asking her about what the doctor found is inappropriate.
No, I just asked if she was aware of it.
No, I wasn't aware of it.
Man, do you think you're a truthful person?
Yes, I do.
Do you think you're a deceitful person?
No.
Well, wouldn't it be a little bit sneaky when you went with Kathy Ilg to call the police?
I'm going to object to this. I don't understand what this line of
Goes the
questioning
right to
is.
credibility.
I
It's
think
argumentative.
maybe a different word besides sneaky. It looks like you're calling for truth and deceit.
Would it be deceptive that you went through a third party to talk to the police?
It didn't feel like it at the time.
Not to you.
Not to me, no.
So you don't feel like you're deceptive or untruthful?
I felt like I needed to talk to them.
This question is, you don't feel like you're untruthful, right?
No.
And you don't feel like you're deceptive, right?
No.
Your Honor, ask and answer it. I'd ask you to move on.
There's an objection asked and answered. I'm sustaining.
Thank you. Would your siblings agree with you?
Not my brother, but I don't have a relationship with my brother.
Holy
My sister
crap.
would tell me
Hold
that
on,
I
hold
was.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold the phone. Now we bringing in the family tree, Mr. Mueller. And she fell for it. Way to go, Mr. Mueller. Here we go.
Steve Benny.
Yes.
Thank you. Give it 1 second.
Let's rewind that little exchange so we can understand what he's talking about.
Deceptive, right?
No.
Your Honor, ask and answer it. I'd ask you to move on.
There's an objection asked and answered. I'm sustaining.
Thank you. Would your siblings agree with you?
Not my brother, but I don't have a relationship with my brother. My
That would-
sister would tell you that
And
I'm
would be-
honest.
And that would be Steve, right?
Yes, it would.
Steve Benny.
Yes.
Thank you. Give it 1 second.
Uh-oh, he coming back for more receipts. Oh, Linda's got a note too. Holy moly. I'm not a fan of Linda's nail polish color. Means nothing, just petty.
I believe that Attorney Mueller was asking you about your prior testimony and whether you had talked to them about whether she said she had a gun.
Yes.
And do you recall looking at testimony then? I'm going to actually have you go through all of your answers on that.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and just say yes instead of not your.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, so I'm going to have you read to me, because I believe he was concentrating on particular lines.
Okay.
And so I'm going to have you read from 15, line 15, which I believe he was talking to you about. And I'm going to actually have you continue down to line 24. If you could just read that. The same page you had, I believe it's 192.
All right, the question, you didn't tell the police and things. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I want her to read because he made her read the two statements and he excluded another statement that she made.
So, okay. Question, you didn't tell the police in Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? Answer, yes, I did. You told the police that there was a weapon involved. I told them there was an assault that she told me she had a gun.
Thank you. So that's the full and complete answer that you were trying to give, is that
Yes.
correct? And that's from the same page that Attorney Mueller had you read from.
Yes.
Do you know if everybody worked like in different roles and at ChemLink? Do you know if drivers were on the same shift as people on the line?
I think they had a few people from each department on both shifts, but I'm not positive about that. The drivers may have only worked in the morning. I don't know.
So you don't know?
I didn't know them personally.
You only know what your shift was?
Right.
But you don't know what drivers' shifts or what other employees' shifts are?
No.
And I guess I just want to understand the dynamics at work after the fire were not good.
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
There was a little tension.
Yes.
There was stress.
Yes.
And you wanted the police to come to you versus you reaching out to the police.
Yes.
And why did you want that?
Because I had to continue to work with the people that I worked with. And like I said, at the time, they were very sympathetic of her situation.
And you didn't want to look like the bad guy.
Right.
But you felt this information needed to get to the police?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. Ma'am, because everybody was sympathetic with Linda Stermer, who lost her husband, you were upset about that?
I wasn't upset about it. I just didn't want to end up on the wrong end of it. I didn't want them to see me as the enemy.
Okay. But
I didn't feel the same way that everyone else did, no.
Okay. And that's why you had the police come to you instead of you going to the police, so you're away from the employees that you didn't want to be looked bad upon?
I don't understand your
Yeah,
question.
bad question. Sometimes I do that. Instead of going to the Van Buren County Sheriffs who live, or who are 5 minutes from your house, or the Michigan State Police, which is a mile from your house, you had them go about a half hour to your work, am I right?
Yes.
And that was, you were afraid that the employees would see you were talking about Linda, and everybody felt bad about Linda.
Yes.
And that's why you had them come to you at work.
Exactly.
Instead of you going to them, right?
Yes.
And then finally, when you were asked those questions on 192, you see that? Mm-hmm. Yes?
I'm familiar, yes.
Okay. You didn't tell the police on Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? And your answer was, yes, I did. Then you told that to the police, that there was a weapon. I told them there was an assault, that she told me that she had a gun. Then you were asked some follow-up questions, right? The ones I read you. And you were pressed a little more. You told the police that there was a gun involved in the incident, ma'am, are you sure? They specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew there were any firearms. She's with me at 192 and 193.
Okay. Is there a specific inconsistent statement you're trying to
Yes.
get at? Okay.
I'm just pressing, she got pressed and then admitted the truth under oath that you told them that I knew there were guns in the house. And that was your testimony under
So
oath.
the guns is where you're getting hung up? Because I told them she had a gun.
Excuse me. You said that I knew there were guns in the house under oath, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
You told them that because Linda told you she had a gun in the house.
Yes.
And what's your objection?
Formal leading.
Oh, wow, it's already been covered though.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I just want to be clear, I think it got lost in the translation here. Did you want it to appear the police were coming to you instead of you going to the police?
Yes.
And that's what you were trying to accomplish?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Jerry, do you have any questions of her? None? Okay, thank you, ma'am. You're excused from your subpoena. Any objection to excusing her,
Yes,
counsel?
I'd ask that you please be excused from subpoena.
Okay, you're all done. Thank you, ma'am. Yep.
Thank you.
Holy moly. Okay, but this is what I said. Take it how you want, and I'm sure the jury is going to take it. I highly doubt that all 12 jurors are going to have the same perception about asking the cops to come to her versus going to them, or you know what I mean? So I found her angry. I found her petty, but I also found her credible. I got to call it like I see it. I'm sorry, you guys. I mean, it didn't it doesn't move me to guilt or innocence. Okay, but just just her testimony in general, I mean, I don't think that the marriage was in trouble was hold on a minute. It was in question. They were arguing. I mean, Linda said it the day of the fire when she was interviewed. Okay. Now, the next thing that's going to happen, and I kind of want to rewind to this a little bit because I feel like there's going to be some arguing. But this next witness is going to read the person that was in jail with Linda Stermer. They're going to read her interview. Okay. But I feel like there might be some, I want to hear what the deal is with that. But Chicken Shite says, she said in her police report that everyone at work likes Linda and, quote, it pisses me off. I mean, if you thought that Linda unalived her husband in that fire and everybody liking Linda at work, would that not make you angry? I'm not saying she's a nice person. I'm not saying that I would open up a friendship door with her. Hell no, I wouldn't. But I also don't find her testimony not credible. It just doesn't move me to guilt. That's all I'm saying.
Back on the record, counsel, any matters to address before we bring in the jury?
Are we going to let the jury know how we're handling this witness and how we're proceeding?
Oh, we were going to have to do that during instructions. Remember we had that about it. Yeah. We were going to do that same during instructions. Right on, you were going to delete maybe the last sentence or something.
Yeah, delete the last sentence. And then I'm just wondering that the jury's going to have probably a question on why we're reading this in.
Say she's unavailable. That's what the rules say.
And I get what you're saying too, Chicken Shite. Like, look, I'm just going to tell it. She and I couldn't be friends. She's doing too much and she's too petty and she's a gossip. So there's that.
Which is the one, because counsel, can you approach?
Yes, let's go.
All right. So this is about jury instructions, not about this actual witness. Okay.
She was in jail for this offense. You must not.
Sorry, that was a really loud outburst. I'm so sorry. I was too much. I was being too much. My bad. All right. I'm not messing with it. Well, hold on. Yes, I am.
You will hear testimony to one you've already heard.
All right, there we go. I'm not messing with it
I'm going to give you
anymore.
an instruction. It's similar to one you've already heard, but it relates to upcoming testimony. You will hear testimony that Ms. Stermer was in jail on or about June 2009. The parties stipulate that she was in jail for this offense. You must not consider this as evidence of her guilt. The fact that she was in jail must not impact your deliberations or verdict in any way. Thank you. Mr. Blair?
Yes, Your Honor. At this point in time, we intend to read into the record the prior testimony of Dardita Gordon. Counsel in this matter will be handled by myself and Mr. Kelly, from what I understand, and then we intend to have Heather Fisk from our office read the testimony of Dardita Gordon into the record. Thank you. Yes, she is deceased. Yes, she is unavailable because she is now deceased.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Make sure that microphone's right up. Yes.
Different view up here.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Would you state your name, please?
Dardita Gordon.
And Dardita, where are you from?
I'm from Covert, Michigan.
And during 2009, I believe between April and August of this past year, were you in the Van Buren County Jail?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what were you in the Van Buren County Jail for?
Failure to pay fines and costs.
Okay. And while you were there, were there a number of other female inmates that you shared a cell with?
Yes.
Okay. And my understanding is you left jail somewhere around August the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Before you left jail, or when you left jail, were you done with anything you had to do with the system at that point in time?
Yes, I had nothing else to do with the system.
All right. And up to that point in time, had you ever talked to any officer about a person named Linda Stermer?
During the time I was incarcerated?
Right.
No, sir.
Were you eventually contacted by an officer in, I believe, sometime in late October of 2009?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you told that your name came up from talking to another inmate or other inmates?
Yes.
All right. And is it true that officer wanted to know what, if anything, you knew about a person named Linda Stermer?
Yes.
And during the time that you were in the jail, did you know who Linda Stermer was?
I did not know her until I met her while I was incarcerated.
And when you met her in jail, first of all, tell us, how does things work as far as people getting along, not getting along, making friends, not making friends? Is there any particular way that works at the county jail or not?
Depending on the friendliness of the person, the nature of the person, what they were in there for, I tried to get along with everybody, to do my time, to go home. I don't put myself in the position to argue, to fight with the inmates, or to disrupt the jail system.
Okay.
Basically, I stay to myself, or I talk to other people that are, that I can talk to.
All right. And would it be fair to say that there are some people that get friendly and spend a lot of time with each other talking in jail, and there are other people that just don't do that or avoid people?
Yes.
Okay. How would you describe your relationship with Linda Stermer? How did the two of you get along, if at all?
We got along fine.
Okay. And as far as over the period of, about how long were you in jail together?
Roughly, I spent about a week, about 4 days down in the holding tank with her. Then I want to say roughly about a month and a half in the cell with her before I became a trustee.
And during that time, as compared with other inmates, were you closer with her, about the same as other inmates?
I was more closer with her.
Okay. And during that time, did discussion ever come up about why each of you were in jail?
Yes, I previously knew before when I was in the holding tank with her. I knew then what she was in there for because...
Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I was going to say, how did you know that?
She told me.
She told you when you were in the holding cell together?
Yes.
Before that, had you read anything, heard anything, seen anything on TV, any other source that you knew anything about her case or that it even happened?
No.
All right. Any knowledge that you have about her case, did that come from anywhere other than Linda Stermer?
No.
All right. I'm just going to ask you a general question. Tell me what your conversations were with Linda Stermer about her case.
Conversation was what she was incarcerated for. She told me she was incarcerated for murdering her husband. She told me that she had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
At one point in time, she told me over a course of 2 years that this was all going on. She was very hysterical at the time when we were in the holding tank. She was very hysterical, very crying, very.
At the time, she said that she didn't have anything to do with it. Did she tell you about anything at all about what had happened?
Only that she had an argument with her husband.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about that there had been a fire?
Yes.
Was there any discussion at all about where she had been when the fire happened, how she happened to get out, and he didn't?
She said that she wasn't in the home at the time of the fire, was the first conversation we had about it.
That she was not in the home?
Yes.
Was she on the property or just gone somewhere else according to what she initially told you?
She said she was gone off the property at the time of the fire.
Okay. And continue on with what happened. Did the story change at any point in time, or was there another story?
The story changed when we were in the cell together.
Okay, and in what way did it change?
The story changed where she told me that she had an altercation with her husband at the time.
Okay.
An argument with him.
Did she tell you what the argument was about?
No, she did not tell me what the argument was about. That she did not do. She told me that she had an altercation, an argument. There was a point in time that she told me that there was medication involved with her husband.
Okay.
And at one point,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
one point in time, she told me that she started the fire in the home.
Okay. When she was talking about medication being involved, did she indicate how medication had been involved?
Administered the medication.
I'm sorry?
Administered.
She gave him medication?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you what it was that she had given him?
No, she did not.
Okay. Now, you said that she eventually told you that she had started the fire?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about how she started the fire?
With gasoline.
Okay. Did she give you any other details about where this was, or where her husband was, or?
Her husband was inside the home.
Okay. Anything more specific than that she told you?
No, the fire was started in the home, and her husband was inside of the home at the time.
Okay. Did she indicate how she was able to do that without him stopping her, running out, fighting with her?
He was apparently sleeping.
Okay. What else, if anything, did she tell you about what happened?
She did tell me that at one time that she struck him with an object.
Okay. Was that during this same conversation, or was this a different time?
This was within the same conversation that we had the last time that I spoke with her.
Okay. Was it, just so I understand, was she saying that she struck him with an object while he was sleeping?
No, this was during the argument.
Okay.
She struck him with an object, then the conversation went to there was medication involved, and then the conversation went on with the fire got started. That she started the fire, her husband was sleeping at the time.
All right. Anything else at all any other discussion about what happened that day?
Not after that. That was all that me and her had a conversation about at that point in time.
Okay. Did you ever have any conversation with her at all about her relationship with her husband or other men?
She did tell me that she had a boyfriend.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about him?
She told me that he was a good man.
Okay.
Anything
else as far as where she met him, how she met him, where he was from, anything like that?
She told me she met him shortly after her husband passed.
Okay. I'm sorry. We misunderstood. Before her husband died, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear.
Okay.
What I was asking about is, did you ever have any conversation, or did she ever say she had a boyfriend while her husband was still alive?
No, she did not.
That never came up?
That never came up, no.
Right now, you've got nothing pending in the system, is that right?
That's right.
And has anything been promised to you, or are you expecting anything for being here and providing testimony today?
No.
All right. And basically, you were identified by someone as being apparently close to Linda Stermer, and the police came and talked to you.
Yes.
And this is pretty much what you told them?
Yes.
Thank you. No other questions.
Okay, low key, I kind of find it hard to believe that Linda would divulge all of this to this woman in the jail. Could she have?
Good
It's
afternoon, Ms.
possible.
Martin. How are you today?
I'm good.
Thank you for being here. I know the weather is quite difficult. My name is Jeff Gettings, and I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Yes.
If at any point you don't understand the question or don't understand what I'm saying, please feel free to just let me know. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, it's your testimony that, or isn't it true that you were arrested and placed into the Van Buren County Jail in 2009?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you've now testified that you were there for failure to pay fines and costs?
Yes.
Failing to pay what fines and costs?
For restitution.
Restitution for what?
3 years ago, I caught a case for attempted uttering and publishing.
You attempted uttering and publishing. What does that mean?
I knowingly cashed I did not know that the check was stolen, and I cashed a check.
You cashed a check that you did not know was stolen?
Yes.
Well, isn't it true that uttering and publishing requires that you knowingly pass a check that has been false, forged, or altered? It's money that you're not entitled to. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Isn't it that what uttering and publishing is?
No.
That's not?
No.
Isn't it true think you pled guilty to the crime?
I did plead guilty to the crime.
Are you now telling me that you're not guilty of that crime?
I'm telling you that I was guilty of cashing a check not knowing it was stolen.
Well, isn't it true that you admitted to the judge at the time of your guilty plea while under oath after having sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that you were guilty of that offense that you pled to?
Because that was the offense that I was charged with, and it was dropped to attempted uttering and publishing.
So you attempted to pass a false, forged, or otherwise altered document that you were not entitled to,
Yes.
but you were stopped in the preparation of that offense.
Yes.
That's what attempt means.
Yes.
So, okay. And then the judge had ordered you to pay restitution for that passing or your attempted passing of that false check. The restitution was actually for the check that was cashed. Isn't that true?
The restitution was for that, yes. That was for that.
Okay. So the charge against you was reduced from uttering and publishing, a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison, to attempted uttering and publishing.
Yes.
And then you failed to do what the court had ordered you to do. 3 years passed and you were picked up.
Yes, because I'm disabled.
How are you disabled?
I cannot work. I have medical conditions to where I cannot work right now.
Do you currently take medication, prescription medications for those conditions?
Yes, I do.
What medications are you on?
I take Lortab.
What's Lortab?
It's a pain medication because I have cancer.
Are you currently taking any medications other than Lortab?
I take Xanax because I have PTSD disorder and panic disorder.
PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, sir.
When were you diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder?
5 years ago, 6 years ago, sorry.
What is the diagnosis of panic disorder?
It's the extreme panic disorder of going in public, of being around a group of people.
And you take Xanax so that you won't panic when you're around a group of people?
Yes.
Were you prescribed Xanax at the time that you were incarcerated in the Van Buren County Jail?
I was not allowed to take them in the county jail.
So at the time that you were at the time that you were incarcerated in the Van Buren County Jail in 2009, you were not taking Xanax?
No, because you cannot have narcotics in the county jail system.
You were not taking your Lortab?
No, because you cannot have narcotics in the county jail system.
What other medications have you been prescribed that you were not taking at the time that you were in?
I take Seroquel at that time. I couldn't afford it in the county jail because I have no insurance.
What is Seroquel?
Seroquel is for insomnia and for mood disorders.
What mood disorder have you been diagnosed with?
Bipolar 2.
What is bipolar 2?
Bipolar 2 is a mood swing disorder. It is a mental condition of you have mood swings. Your elevation of moods go up and down. It's a mood stabilizer. It's also for insomnia.
Seroquel, Xanax, Lortab. What other medications were you not taking at the time that you were in the county jail?
That's it.
Have you been diagnosed with any other mental or emotional disorders other than panic disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and bipolar?
No.
And Ms. Gordon, have you ever been convicted of any other theft-related crimes or crimes involving dishonesty like attempted uttering and publishing?
I have one other charge that was a misdemeanor of a theft at Walmart.
When did that occur?
I can't recall the date, the year. I know it was probably 2000, I want to say 5, maybe even 6.
And the reason you can't recall is because you have difficulty with your memory as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder and panic disorder and bipolar.
Yes.
Oh,
when you were
boy.
incarcerated at the Van Buren County Jail, you had access to a television. Is that true?
Yes, I had access to a television, but not until after I was already moved from the cell. I was in with Ms. Stermer to cell 1.
You also had access to other media reports, newspapers.
No.
No?
No.
Did you have access to other persons as a source of information? Did anybody come and visit you at the jail?
The only one that came to visit me at the jail was my father and my fiance at the time, but they didn't have TV at the time and they don't watch the news.
So both your father and your fiance were persons who came to visit you?
Yes.
And that's it? No other friends, no other family?
Nope.
In the several months that you were there at the jail, is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you know Linda Stermer
No.
before she came to jail?
No.
She was arrested on June the 5th of 2009. When she initially came to jail, she was put in what you refer to as a tank. Is that right?
Yes, it's like a holding cell for inmates when they come in.
Until they've been assigned to another cell.
Yes.
Now, the tank has another purpose besides being where people are initially put when they are arrested. It's also used as a disciplinary tool.
Yes, it is.
Now, you were in the tank. You hadn't just been arrested. You were there as a disciplinary action. Is that true? Is that yes?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Detective Sergeant Macioski and Detective Gabriel Rout, were the two persons who interviewed you on October the 28th. Is that right?
Yes.
Isn't it true, madam, that when you were first asked by detectives whether or not Ms. Stermer had made any statements to you, you told them that she did ask for forgiveness, but you could not remember anything further?
Yes, they did ask me that, and yes, she did ask for forgiveness.
Isn't it true that you told the officers that that's all that you could remember and you could not remember anything further?
I did not say that that was all I could remember. I said at the present moment that was all that I could remember.
Isn't it true that it was Detective Macioski that suggested to you that Linda Stermer had struck her husband as opposed to you telling him that first?
No, he did not suggest that to me.
So when Detective Macioski writes in his report that he attempted to jar your memory by asking if she had heard Linda Stermer doing chapel make any statements as to striking her husband, he must be lying in his report.
It was a question that he asked me if there was anything I could remember about her striking, hitting, or anything else.
And so Detective Macioski, after you had told him you could not remember anything further other than her asking for forgiveness, suggested to you that she had struck her husband. Is that true?
Yes, to be honest with you,
Madam, I haven't asked you any other questions, and it wouldn't be appropriate for you just to make comments, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any contact with Ms. Stermer since your release from jail?
No.
Did you visit? So you never visited her, she's never visited you, there hasn't been any contact, is that right?
No.
So this friendship that you claim you developed with her while you were incarcerated evaporated upon your release, or excuse me, upon her release from jail.
Yes.
That happens.
She was actually released from jail before you were, right?
Yes.
I mean, that happens. You know, when you're locked up together, you become friends, but that doesn't mean you're like lifelong friends. You're just jail friends. Calm down. Which,
you made no attempt,
hold on.
no attempt to come forward with
I need to say, for anybody that's just joining us and missed the beginning of this, the witness who actually said these words is deceased. Okay. And so they're having to read this into the record. So the way that they did it is Mr. Kelly is reading the cross-examination from Linda Stermer's previous trial. Also, it's good to see everybody. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. If I could just ask you to, give your girl a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. All right, here we go.
any of this information to the sheriff's department, to a detective, to a guard, or anyone during the course of your incarceration. Is that right?
That's true.
You didn't make any statements to the police or other law enforcement authorities about this at the time when you claimed these statements were being made. Is that right?
That's true.
And even after Ms. Stermer was released from jail in August of 2009, you didn't come forward to any point in time then, did you?
That is true.
And Madam, isn't it true that Detective Macioski indicated to you or brought to your attention, used the word frying pan before you made any statements about having been struck with any kind of object? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And later, Detective Rout asked you, are you sure about that? Being that Detective Macioski had mentioned the possibilities of a frying pan, Detective Rout asked you, are you sure that isn't true, that you then said, well, you don't know about the frying pan, only that she did strike her husband. Is that right?
I did say that.
And so even during your interview with the detectives, Detective Macioski was suggesting information to you. You were including that in your statement, and then you were retracting it later. All during your one interview with the police. Is that right?
Yes.
You continue to suffer from memory problems that you are a result of a post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, and anxiety disorder. Is that true?
Yes, I do continue to suffer from them.
Are you currently being treated for those?
Yes, I am.
All right. but they continue to affect your ability to recall things in a clear and precise way. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that. It affects me to be able to decipher from right and wrong.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you whether or not your memory continued to be impacted by the Lortab, Xanax, Seroquel, your disorders of panic, post-traumatic stress disorder, mood disorder, bipolar. Those things affect your ability to accurately recall events. Isn't that true?
It plays a part in it, yes.
What else plays a part in your inability to accurately recall things?
Stress.
All right. What else plays a part? Stress, post-traumatic stress disorders, anxiety disorders, mood disorders, bipolar disorder, and your various prescriptions for those things. Basically nothing else?
That's my part.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Basically nothing else. I take medication for that.
Amber Papish was also in your cell. Isn't that true?
Not with me at the present moment, no or not.
You are not currently incarcerated.
She was not in the cell at the time that me and Ms. Stermer were in the cell together.
When did she come into the cell?
Amber came into that cell shortly after I left.
Amy Lauren, she was also incarcerated with you. Isn't that true?
Yes, Amy Lauren was also incarcerated with me.
And Linda Barton, isn't it true that she also was incarcerated with you and Ms. Stermer?
Yes, she was.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Just a couple more questions. Ms. Gordon, it was Officer Maciowski that brought up the question if Linda Stermer had used any object such as a frying pan. He's the one that brought that up?
He brought it up, yes.
Okay. And you understand that we want you to testify to what you remember, not what was suggested to you.
Exactly. That's why when he asked me the question, I said, all I remember is that she said she struck him with an object.
Also, during the course of that conversation, according to his report and Detective Rout's report, is that Linda told you that she was there because she had killed her husband and she had started a fire and that she had used gasoline. Nobody suggested that to you, did they?
No, they did not.
Thank you. No other questions.
Isn't it true that that information had previously been reported in the media?
No, it was not, because I did not watch television at the time. I was not in the cell with any kind of television or any way to be able to see that.
That wasn't my question. That wasn't it.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the next question then because she said she doesn't watch television and wasn't aware of it. She wouldn't know whether or not it was in the media.
Yeah.
I don't know what the next question is, so let's hear it.
You know what? I'm not even going to bother. That's it. I'm done.
You may step down. Counsel, can you approach, please? Okay, jury, an instruction for you. The testimony of Dardita Gordon was read into this trial because she is not available. This testimony was taken under oath at an earlier hearing. You should consider this testimony in the same way you consider any other testimony you have heard in court. Thank you. Ms. Zyderine, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please call forward your to the stand, please.
Okay, the next person being called to the stand is Linda and Todd's son, but it's
Raise your right hand.
He's not their
Do you solemnly
biological
swear or affirm
son.
that the testimony
You'll
you're
hear.
about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled in, I'll have you move the microphone close to your mouth and tell us your full name and spell the last.
Okay, also, I need to say that with respect to Linda's hair, at the beginning of the week, I think over the weekend, she'd had it colored, and I think she'd had a Brazilian blowout. Clearly, it has not lasted the week. That's all.
Corey Lee Pierce, Pierce.
Thank you. Ms. Eileen?
Thank you. Good morning, or good afternoon, Mr. Pierce.
Good afternoon.
And can you explain to the jury why you have a different last name?
My biological dad had dropped me off at my aunt and uncle's when I was about 2 years old, and I grew up with them and they raised me.
So who raised you?
My aunt and uncle,
And what are their names?
Linda and Todd Stermer.
And did you think of them as your parents?
Yes, I called them mom and dad.
At the time of the fire, how old were you?
17.
Can you explain to the jury kind of what the layout of the house, where your bedroom was, where your brother slept?
So our bedrooms were in the basement. As you go down the stairs, as you turn to the right, we had a kind of a recreational room right there, and then a downstairs living room. And then in the back corner, there were 2 large bedrooms in each corner down there.
And did you share a bedroom, or did you have your own?
I was sharing it with my brother Trevor at the time, and then Trenton's room was right next to that one. They were connected.
Right by each other?
Yep.
And was there a loft area that your dad was working on?
Yeah, so that had just gotten finished. The loft area was Trevor's bedroom.
So that was going to be Trevor's bedroom?
Yes,
But at the time of the fire, were all 3 of you still sleeping downstairs?
correct.
Do you recall the night before the fire?
Yes.
And had you heard any fighting that night?
Yes, so I had heard a lot of arguing, yelling, and my dad had found out that Linda was cheating on him.
So I can rephrase the question. Do you know what the fight was about?
Yes.
And what was the fight about?
Unless, does he know from personally observing it, or?
He heard
is
it, Your
gonna
Honor.
And why is it being offered?
Why is it being offered?
The objection is hearsay?
Oh, I can actually ask in terms of what he heard his mother say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let
Could you tell me
Linda
what
take
you
it.
heard Linda say, what the fight was about?
That night,
Yeah.
so Linda was claiming that she didn't cheat on our dad, and
And then you heard more yelling.
I heard more yelling at that point.
And where were you when Linda and your dad were arguing?
Downstairs in my bedroom.
And you
In
could
bed.
hear it?
Yes, could hear pretty clear.
Do you recall, you said you were in bed?
Yep.
So do you recall approximately like how late this was?
I can't remember the time.
But you had already gone to bed?
Yes.
Did your brothers also go to bed?
Yep.
All 3 of you were in bed?
Yeah, we went to bed at the same time usually.
Did any of you get up?
No.
Which you could clearly hear upstairs?
Yep.
That night that you heard this fighting between Linda and your dad, did Linda come downstairs to the basement?
Not during that night that I know of.
She didn't come down and watch TV?
Not that I know of, no.
She didn't come down and snuggle with you on the couch?
No.
At any time that night before the fire, did you hear your dad come downstairs?
Not that I recall.
Didn't hear him go into the furnace room?
No.
How close was your bedroom to the furnace room?
It basically almost touched it. It was just on the other side of the wall, kind of kitty corner.
Shared a wall?
Yes.
Was the basement 100% finished?
It had just gotten finished. As far as I recall, it had just gotten finished, yes.
Do you have drywall?
Had drywall.
Do you have carpet?
We didn't have carpet down there.
Didn't have carpet yet?
No.
Did you have area rugs?
I don't remember an area rug.
Was the ceiling finished?
Yes.
Was it drywalled?
I think it was drywall, yes.
Growing up, did you ever see your parents get physical with each other?
No.
Did you ever see any marks or bruises on Linda?
No.
Do you recall waking up the next morning, the day of the fire?
Yes.
And you were in your bedroom?
Yeah.
And what woke you up?
I was already awake at the time. I just woke up on my own that morning.
Did you hear anything?
I heard somebody walking down the stairs.
And who was that?
Linda.
And then what did she do?
She came into the room, into my bedroom, sat on the end of my bed, and then I sat up, and she told me that I needed to help my brothers get around and get dressed real fast, and she wanted me to take them out to a movie and breakfast that morning.
Did she say why?
She told me that they were going to get divorced and they were going to decide how to split everything up.
Did she tell you what this fight was about?
She didn't bring up the fight at that point. She just told me that they were getting divorced and wanted to decide how to split everything up.
Just a little brief pause for fair use commentary, but it's interesting that he says that she asked him to take the boys out for breakfast and a movie because she had made breakfast that morning. So just interesting.
And she told you to go where?
She told me to take my brothers out to breakfast and a movie.
Did she give you any money?
Yeah, she gave me some money.
Do you remember how much?
No, I can't recall.
So what did you do?
I asked her why we needed to sneak out, and she said that she wanted our dad to think we were still in the basement.
Did she say why she wanted your dad to think that?
Yes.
What'd she say?
She said that if he thought we were still in the basement, excuse me, that they wouldn't argue as much, and that it would be easier to figure out how to get through the divorce stuff that they were going to go through.
So because of that, she wanted you to sneak out?
Yes.
Did she tell you not to talk to your dad?
Yes.
Did you go out the basement door or or a different door?
No, we went up through the upstairs door.
Hey, Margie, good to see you,
So when
babe.
you went upstairs, what did you see upstairs?
I walked upstairs and my two brothers were behind me, and Linda was on the side blocking the living room, and I kind of glanced over there as I was leaving, and I looked like I saw my dad just sitting in the chair with his arm kind of resting on the side.
Did you see his face?
No,
Did you try to talk to him?
I did not, no.
Did you see any of your brothers go and try to talk to him?
Yeah, so Trenton was behind me. He tried to go around her and say goodbye, and she blocked him and wouldn't let him go over there.
And you saw this?
Yes.
So what happened when she was blocking?
I said, Trenton, come on, let's just go, and we both walked towards the door.
What was the common practice at your house as far as talking to your parents before you left?
We would always give our parents a hug and kiss goodbye and tell them that we loved them.
Did you do that every time you left?
Every time, yes. There
So
was a general rule that we couldn't go to a friend's house, we couldn't go anywhere unless we had said goodbye.
You didn't get to say goodbye that day, did you?
No.
Do you remember if there was a fire in the fireplace?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what car you took to the mall?
Yes, we took the black Blazer.
Did your mom come out, did Linda come out and to the Blazer when you left?
I don't recall.
Do you remember how you got the keys?
The keys were already in the Blazer.
Was it common practice for Linda to leave her purse in the car?
No.
Did she ever drive the van?
I don't really remember her ever driving the van.
Is that your dad's primary vehicle?
Yeah, that was his work vehicle.
Do you remember seeing Linda's purse before you left?
Yes.
And where was her purse located?
It was on the counter. When you walked up the stairs, you could see it directly on the counter straight ahead of you. I'm sorry.
Was that in the kitchen area?
Kitchen area, yes, right at the top.
And you remember seeing it when you walked up?
Yes.
All right, just for context, if you guys don't remember, the reason that this is important testimony is because part of Linda's story is that there was so much smoke and fire that she not only could not go up from, she was in the basement. She couldn't get upstairs to the main level of the dwelling because there was so much smoke and there was so much fire. She also couldn't grab a phone. She couldn't do anything. She was fleeing for her life, basically, is what her story is. Yet her purse was found in the van. And he's testifying that when they left, her purse was in the kitchen, which means at some point she grabbed that purse. If you believe his testimony, she grabbed that purse and she put it in the van, suggesting she did not flee like she said she did.
Is that a common place for her to keep her purse?
Yeah, just on the counter up there.
Where did you go in Kalamazoo?
We went to the mall, ate some food, and then we went to a movie.
Did you drive?
I was driving, yes.
Do you remember if the Blazer had a full tank of gas?
I don't remember the amount of gas in there.
Did you get a phone call as you were watching the movie?
Yes.
What was that phone call?
That phone call was from my friend Steven. He lived down the road just a little bit, and he called me and said that our house was on fire.
I'm not offering it for the truth of the matter, just to only describe why he left the movie and his next action.
I'll allow it for that purpose.
So once you got that call, what did you do?
At first I hung up and I thought he was joking. He was kind of a prankster, and he kept calling my phone, and I didn't answer it. And then he ended up calling my brother Trevor's phone and told him that it was serious and we needed to get home.
Did you leave at that time?
Yes, then we left.
Did you head back to your house?
Yes, we went straight back home.
What did you see when you got there?
Police cars, a bunch of smoke coming out of the roof of the house. Somebody had seen us pull up, and I didn't really see too much of anything else. We were put in the back of a cop car.
So you stayed in the police car?
Yeah.
You didn't go up to the house?
No.
And then did you stay in that police car for a while?
Yeah, they told us to wait there until they came back.
Were you aware if Linda had a cell phone?
Yes.
Do you know if she had more than one cell phone?
Yeah, she had 2 phones.
And how do you know that she had 2 phones?
I had seen her use both of them on different occasions.
Did she ever ask you to get any bills or pick up any bills for her?
Yes.
What did she ask you to do?
So she called me and asked me to grab the mail that was going to be on the porch, and there was going to be a phone bill within that mail, and she asked me to hide the phone bill.
Did she tell you who to hide it from?
Yes, my dad.
Did Linda ever talk to you prior to the fire about them divorcing or who you might want to live with?
She had brought it up a couple times.
Do you recall how close to the fire that was?
No, I can't recall.
Do you ever remember your dad working on the furnace in the past while you were living at that house?
No.
Do you ever remember a time when there wasn't heat in the house or that it was cold?
No.
Did Linda ask you to move boxes of photos or any photos out to the shed before the fire?
No.
At your home, did you have a snowblower?
A snowblower?
A snowblower.
No, not that I remember. I don't remember a snowblower.
Do you guys have lawnmowers?
We had an old lawnmower.
Was it common to keep gas cans on the property?
Yes.
And where would those be stored?
Either in the shed or in our barn. We made like a barn with overhangs where the tractor and the lawnmower would have been. So the gas cans would have been with the tractor underneath of the overhang or with it inside the shed there behind the house.
Any reason there should have been a gas can in the front yard?
No.
Did Linda ever talk to you about what happened after the fire?
It was brought up within car rides.
Car rides with who?
My other two brothers.
And what did she say about the fire?
It depended on the time. The stories changed a few different times.
All right, before we get into the stories that changed a few different times, Fruitfly asks, why was her conviction overturned? They ruled that she didn't get a fair trial because her original trial counsel failed to investigate this as an accident. They didn't put on any expert witnesses to testify about, going to the scene, whether it was arson or an accident. That's part of it. Then apparently at closing, during closing statements, the prosecution allegedly made some, I think the term they used was inappropriate comments, but they weren't specific. So basically they just ruled that she didn't get a fair trial. So her conviction was overturned. She was released on bail, and then the state decided to retry her, and that's where we are today.
Do you recall what they were and how they changed?
The first time that Trenton asked her about it, she had told us that she was downstairs doing laundry and she heard yelling, and when she looked up the stairs there was too much smoke, and so she ran out the basement door.
And then did the story change?
The story changed a few different times.
What did it change to?
Another time she heard yelling, she ran up the stairs and saw her dad in the living room on fire, and she couldn't do anything because the smoke and the heat was too much, and so she ran out the front door. Another time she ran upstairs and there was too much smoke and she couldn't see anything, and ran out the front door.
Did you ever ask her about the differences that she was telling you?
I never did, but my brother Trenton was very adamant about pushing her on her stories.
Did that happen in front of you?
Yes.
What happened when he would push her?
She would start screaming, and one time she pulled the vehicle over on the side of the highway and started slapping him. He was in the back seat. Other times she would just start screaming and crying and saying, "How dare you call me a liar?" And she would tell Trevor to silence him, shut him up, and she would allow Trevor, our other brother, to punch him and physically attack him to keep him, to shut him up.
Did Linda ever tell you what to say prior to you being interviewed?
Yes.
And you were spoken to by the insurance company?
Correct.
What did she tell you before you were interviewed?
She told me that the insurance company's job was basically to try to prevent us from getting insurance money, and they were going to ask us questions, and then she would tell me what the questions would be and how to answer them.
What did she tell you to say?
She said they'll probably ask about our marriage and if we had any issues within the marriage, and you'll need to tell them that there weren't any issues that you ever seen, that the marriage was good and that they were happy together. And if I had ever heard of financial issues, to just tell them that I didn't know, I had never heard of anything.
She asked you then to write out a list of your belongings?
Yes.
What did she say about that list of your belongings?
She had me and my brothers go through it and write out a list of belongings, and she told us that once she got the insurance money that we would get the money back for all of our possessions, so we needed to itemize each thing that we could remember. And so we did this for a few weeks. We'd keep remembering things and we'd write them down, and she would tell us to write down how many you think of something you have, how much you think it was worth, put that amount next to it, and once we got the insurance money that we would be compensated for all of our belongings that we had on those lists.
And did she say what would happen if you didn't say what she told you to?
She said that we wouldn't get anything. They would just not give us the insurance money.
And that's why you had to say what she wanted you to say?
Correct.
Is that why you said what you said?
Yes.
Did Linda ever tell you where the van was at the time of the fire?
In one of her stories, it was at the bottom of the hill. When she ran out of the basement, she got in the van to go get help. And then another time it was at the top, where we always parked it at the top, and she had hopped in it to go try and get help.
At the time of the fire, you said you were 17?
Yes.
And did you live then with Linda for a period of time?
Yes.
Did you live with Linda while you were going through these insurance
Yes.
statements? She was your sole support at that time?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
You're a grown man now. I'll call you Mr. Pierce. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I will try to keep this brief. You mentioned you were talking about keys in the car, remember?
Yes.
In the Blazer. You live in a rural area, obviously, right?
Correct.
It was not uncommon for folks out in the rural areas like you to leave keys in the car, right?
I don't know about other people. We wouldn't leave our keys in the car, though.
You would, right?
No, we wouldn't.
Well, in the Blazer, the keys were there that day, right?
Yes.
Are you aware your dad's wallet was found in the van that day? That was his work van?
No.
You're not aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, no.
You talked about purse, and your mom's purse was on the kitchen, right?
Correct.
Possible she had more than one purse, isn't it?
It's possible, yes.
Growing up until Ms. Stermer got arrested in June of 2009, you had a very close relationship with your mom, right?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. You got a close relationship with your dad?
Yes.
You don't like your mom very much, do you?
No.
The cell phone that you said there were two phones your mom had?
Yes.
Okay. One was her own phone and one was a work phone, right?
One was her own phone, and the other, she had told me, was a work phone.
Okay. You believe it was a work phone, and that's what you told the police officers when you were interviewed, right?
I don't recall.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
He's going to refresh some recollection, apparently. I do think it's interesting, though, that none of her children are on her side. Whoa, Wolf, back up off the mic, bro. Every woman does have more than one purse. All right, hold on a second. Every woman has more than one purse, but every woman only uses one purse at a time, and they typically move their stuff around. Like, I have multiple purses. I don't leave the purses that I'm not using in the kitchen, right? The only time the kitchen purse is the current purse. All the other purses are in the closet.
Police report, and I'm just directing you to page 3. Page 1 was August of 2007. You see that, August 10th?
Yep.
That sound about right when you were interviewed? Do you remember being interviewed?
By who?
By the police?
I don't remember any interviews by the police.
I want you to read just this little part that's highlighted on page 3. Page 3 of the, yeah, right at the top third. You there?
Yep.
Okay. It says investigating officer also asked if his mother had a cell phone, which he stated she had 2 cell phones, which he identified as one being a regular phone and the other being a work phone. Does that jog your memory?
I guess I would ask if you could please stop testifying and ask questions.
Does that jog your memory that that's what you told the officer?
I'll overrule that.
No,
It's okay.
I don't remember talking to the officers about that.
At all?
No.
If you were talking to police officers, you would have been truthful with them, right?
I don't know. If my mom was around, then I'm not sure.
You don't remember if your mom was around or not around?
No, I don't remember the conversation.
Okay. Do you recall, in terms of the cell phone and the cell phone bills, that you would run up the cell phone bill talking to your mom or talking to your girlfriend a lot?
Yes.
In fact, back then, I mean, we have unlimited now, but back then you had limited minutes on family plans.
Yes.
Remember? So you and your mom, because you would run up the phone, remember not showing dad the phone bills so you wouldn't get in trouble?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
And then you would have to pay for part of the bill because you were running up the bill with your girlfriend?
I would have to pay for part of that, yes.
The day of the fire, when you went to the mall, when you saw your dad, you didn't know if he was on the chair or on the couch in the living room, right?
I believe he was on the chair when I saw him.
May I approach, Your Honor? Do you remember testifying at a prior hearing?
Yes.
Next, you look at page 150 if you would.
Okay.
In line 14, you were asked, do you remember whether he was on the couch or in a chair? And your answer was, it was one of the two. I just didn't really see him. I saw his leg, really.
Yes.
Remember being asked that question now that you look at it?
Yes.
Okay, you were under oath, right?
Yes.
You swore to tell the truth.
Yes.
And your memory would have been better back in 2010 than it is now, 15 years later, right?
Yes.
If you were asked that question, that's the answer you gave. That would have been the truth, right?
Yes.
As far as you knew, he was watching TV.
I can't say that he was watching TV. I don't know.
Actually, look at line 18, same page. The question was, so he's in there, and as far as you know, he was watching TV. Your answer?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Memory was better then. Yes?
Yes.
You just want to tell the truth, and you did tell the truth. Yes?
As far as I know, he could be watching TV. He could have been doing anything. Yes.
You did tell the truth.
Yes.
When you were asked by your mom, by Linda, to go to the mall, she didn't seem nervous at all, did she?
She seemed, I wouldn't say nervous. No. I would say more urgent.
She was calm.
No.
No? I'd ask you to take a look at page 158 again. Line 17, 23. You see that?
Yes.
You were asked under oath back then in 2010, when your mom came and told you and your brothers to go see a movie or go to the mall, she was calm at that time, right?
I would say,
Your answer was, yeah, she seemed calm.
Yes.
Next question, she didn't seem upset or excited or scared or angry or anything like that. Is that true? And your answer was right.
right.
When you were under oath back in 2010, you swore to tell the truth. That was the truth, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm sure your dad loved that house, right?
Yes.
But your mom loved that house too, right?
Yes.
And you had a cat at the time named Carrie?
No.
You had a cat?
No.
You did not have a cat?
No.
Are you saying the family didn't have any cats?
I don't remember any cats at that time. My cat had been hit by a car before that.
Okay. If you had cats in the house at the time, your mom loved animals, right?
Yes.
Dogs, cats, horses?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? You don't know if any cats survived the fire, do you?
I don't remember having cats at the time.
And that morning, your mom had told you that they were planning on getting divorced, right?
Yes.
And they were going to talk about splitting up the property, right?
Correct.
So but she wanted you and Trenton and Trevor, at least to make it seem like you were in the house, so the argument wouldn't be so big and loud, right?
Correct.
That's why she said, look, I don't want you to say bye to your dad because I want this to be calm this afternoon, right? Calmer.
That's what she said, correct.
And that's not the first time they ever talked about, or your mom or dad ever told you about they might get divorced.
No.
Right? It happened a few times, a couple months before for sure, right?
I don't know the time frame, but before.
Before, and your mom told she might live with her sister-in-law or stepsister. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah. If you told somebody under oath that, would that have been true?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach? I'm going to ask you to read Page 25, line 18 to 24.
Read it.
Look at yourself.
Okay.
Let me know when you do. Does that refresh your memory that your mom had told you sometime before that she might go, or you all might go live with her stepsister?
No, I don't remember.
It doesn't jog your memory at all?
No.
If you said that under oath, that would have been true, right?
Yes.
You just don't remember now.
No.
You know what? This whole situation with the cats, I got to say, I'm glad that there weren't any cats, that they don't remember having cats. I feel like he would remember if they had cats at the time. I mean, that's something that would stick with you if you lost an animal to a fire. So, because we never had resolution about these cats, and now we have some. So at least there's some good news there, that no cats were harmed in that fire.
So long.
Right.
Do you recall telling our jury just a little bit ago that you would store gas cans, family gas cans in the shed or the shed or where? Or the lean-to?
Like a barn lean-to.
Okay. And it was, you wouldn't store them in the front yard, right?
No.
Or in the front porch or anything?
The front porch? No.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to look at that transcript at page 159 if you would. And look at, should be highlighted, lines 10 through 22. Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Good?
Yep.
All right. You were asked about questions about what's on the property, tractors, lawnmowers, those kind of things, right?
Right.
And then you were asked, there were multiple gas cans at the property that were kept either outside in the shed or sometimes empty gas cans that would be by the front porch. Is that true? And your answer was?
Yes.
Then you were asked a question, and it wasn't uncommon for an empty gas can to be kept there by the front porch area so it could be put in the vehicle and taken to the gas station. Is that right? And your answer?
Yes.
Okay, but the reason he's asking that question is because there was a gas can in the front yard. It was literally in the yard. But why would it still be there if Linda had taken it to fill it at the gas station? She'd been to the gas station that day. And yes, Sarah, this is the second witness that says no cats. Brandy says, who said they had cats? I think a witness said that Linda said it. She did. It was one of the first witnesses that said something the witness was asked if they asked Linda if anybody was in the house, which they did. And Linda said something about only the cats.
That was true at the time you gave it under oath?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, it wouldn't be uncommon for your mom or your dad to take gas to the gas station, right? Or you. Things have to get filled up. True?
True.
Usually it falls on the kids when you get driving age, right?
Yeah.
Now, you said it was not, the van was your dad's work van, right?
Correct.
But if the Blazer was gone, did you have your own car?
I don't remember if my car was working at that time or not. I had a green Cavalier though.
Okay. If it wasn't working and somebody was in the Blazer, let's say you took the Blazer because your car wasn't working, there'd only be a van left, right?
Correct.
So somebody would have to drive the van, and whether it's mom or dad.
Correct.
Certainly mom wasn't prevented from driving the family van, right?
No.
So Little Red says, anyone thinks she may be innocent, that he had a habit of using fire to collect insurance money when they had money problems. He had set a fire once before, if I remember correctly. So we don't know that he set the fire. There were rumors. Todd's, not their home, not his parents' home, but they had a home that they rented on their property. and that did catch fire. Here's my only snag to Todd doing this to collect insurance money. They were behind on the insurance payment, and Linda had no idea about it. And I would think that if you were going to commit arson for the purposes of collecting the insurance money, you would be up to date on your insurance. There would be no lapse. They had gotten a notice that they were about to be dropped. And the only reason the insurance company ended up even considering honoring it is because Linda made a payment.
And you testified that the night before you didn't hear your dad downstairs, if he came downstairs to mess around with the furnace, right?
Right.
Because you were sleeping. True?
True.
Right. And you were a student at the time, right?
I would have been in high school, yes.
Okay. So you're gone. You're not at home often. True? You're either at school, maybe you're with a girlfriend, maybe with friends, right?
I went out. Yeah.
Okay. So you wouldn't know if your dad was working on the furnace on any given time if you weren't there.
Correct.
Right? And simply because you didn't hear him doesn't mean he wasn't working on the furnace at some point during the day before, right?
Right.
Or 2 days before.
Correct.
Right? Now, can you give me just 1 minute? When you were in school, did you have buddies?
Yes.
Right. Would your mom come up to school sometimes?
Yes.
Right. And when your mom came up to school, would your buddies all say hi to her?
I really don't understand what the relevance of her going to the school is at this point.
He just said he didn't have a good relationship with his mom. I'm exploring that because I think that they did. Thank you. Your friends all like your mom?
I don't think so. But
Would you hug her when she'd come up to school?
yes.
And your friends would.
What's that?
And your friends would too.
I don't recall.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
What side of it?
Thank you, Your Honor. You said that you were in bed and you heard the arguing the night before the fire, right?
Yes.
And your room borders or shares a wall with the furnace room, you said?
Yes.
So is it fair to say you weren't really sleeping very sound late into the evening?
No, I would have been awake for a little bit.
And you didn't hear anything in the furnace room the night before?
No.
And it felt like you wanted to explain maybe when Attorney Mueller asked if Linda was calm, upset, or angry, felt like you wanted to explain a little bit more. Was there something more you wanted to say?
She was calm in a sense, but she said we needed to hurry, and she wanted us to be quick. She wanted me to get my brothers around quickly and get them out of the house.
Did she tell you when to come home that day?
I don't recall.
Is there anything that your family would have been using a 1-gallon gas can for in January?
I disagree, I'll allow it.
I can't remember. I don't know.
You said there was no snowblower, right?
No.
And it's January, so you wouldn't be using a lawnmower, right?
All right.
I will sustain as the leading.
Would you be using a lawnmower in January?
No.
Any reason you can think for a 1-gallon gas can to be in your front yard?
I can't think of anything.
I'll allow the last question and answer.
And when you talked to the police, Linda was telling you what to say, is that correct?
I'll allow it for redirect, just to keep things moving.
At the time I was living with her, she was telling me what to say when people would ask me questions. Yes.
And were you living with her when you had to testify at a court hearing?
Yes.
And were you living with her when you had to go through interviews with the insurance agent?
Yes.
Today you're a grown man, right?
Yes.
And she's not telling you what to say today?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
You said when you gave testimony in a hearing that you were living with your mom?
Yes.
you gave testimony in a hearing in January of 2010, you weren't living with your mom. You were living with Amanda? Remember that?
No.
Remember having been incarcerated for a crime and then you were living?
Can you approach, please, Counsel? In any way. Strike and not consider that last question in any way.
In the winter, sir, did you use the tractor to haul bales of hay around for the horses?
Yes.
Okay. Tractors use gas.
Yes.
And when you'd have friends over there, you'd have friends over for paintball parties, right, on your property?
Yes.
And your mom would cook breakfast. They'd stay over.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
How big was that tractor?
It was a large tractor. The wheels on it were probably about 4 foot high, I would guess, if I had to.
Did it take more than a gallon of gas to fill it?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing.
Jury, any questions of him? I've got several. Sir, I have some questions from the jury.
Okay.
Did you have fire alarms in the house?
I can't remember.
Okay. So you wouldn't know of which rooms or if any rooms had them?
No, I can't remember.
Okay. Had Linda ever asked you boys to leave the house when arguing with Todd?
No, that was the first time.
If you know, was there a blanket covering Todd when you and your brothers left for Kalamazoo?
I'm not aware of that. No, I'm not sure.
Was the tractor gas or diesel?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Counsel, any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, just.
Of course, Wolf. Get up here. Come on.
You were aware sometimes your mom and dad would have some pretty loud arguments?
Yes.
But this was a situation where the mom told you, we are getting divorced and we need to split up the property. That's why I don't want you to get real loud, right?
Correct.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear that last question. It was something about tractor and gas. Oh, do you know?
I don't know.
No more questions. Thank you.
Anything else?
She had talked to you about them getting divorced several times before that day, hadn't she?
Yes.
And this was the first time she'd ever asked you to leave.
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
This is the first time she said, we are getting divorced. Before it was general talk, right?
Before it was general talk. Yes.
This day was, we are getting divorced and we need to split up the property and I don't want you.
Asked and answered at this point, Your Honor.
No. Last question. And that's why I want you to leave, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Nothing. Jury, any other questions? No? May he be excused from his subpoena?
I would ask that you please be excused from subpoena, Your Honor.
Agreed. Okay. Thank you. So you're all done and you're excused from your obligations under your subpoena.
All right. So that is the last witness for, this is not right on here from day 6, part 2. So I will be back. I might be back tonight to do day 7, I think, because there's no other way to do it. Either I have to come live twice on Saturday or I have to come live twice one day in order to catch everything up. But I need to sit with this testimony. I think it was important testimony. I think that he's telling the truth. I do think that Linda asked him to leave that day, to take those kids that day. But here's the catch to all of that. She wanted them to leave, but she didn't want Todd to know that they were leaving. Yet they left out of the front door, which they all saw Todd on their way out. So what was going on with Todd that they were able to get out of that front door without disturbing him? I will leave it to you guys. I'm going to think about that. You guys think about that, and we will meet back here. Just keep an eye out. Thank you all for being here. If you haven't done so already, would you please give your girl a thumbs up on the stream? And I'll see y'all later. Have a great rest of your Friday. Bye.
Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do. Well, fuck you.
No malicious intent or effort was towards it.
No malicious. Finish her!
Minutes later.
We all do a little math sometimes.